The Spinone, the Italian pointing breed loved by our hunters, who see in him the ideal partner for every type of hunt.
Il cane che ha a suo agio in
The dog who is perfectly at ease hunting in every type of ground. The rough dog, as rough as his hunting desire, known as the dog for woods and swamps. This documentary will have the help of Marco Lozza, president of the Italian Spinone Club, which gathers Spinone breeders, Spinone lovers, and all those who support this marvelous pointing dog. Some authors indicate the origin of the breed way back to the ancient Greece and identify the Spinone in the description which Xenophonte gave in his Cyneseticon, written way back 400 years before Christ. But not everybody agrees about this theory. The truth is that the Spinone history during the Renaissance went in parallel with that of the Bracco Italiano, with which he has so much in common. In fact, the Spinone was originally considered the rough-coated version of the Bracco Italiano. The Spinone was called Bracco Spinoso, i.e. the rough-coated Bracco, and only at the beginning of 1900 was finally called Spinone. The Spinone can be brown, roan, or white-orange, just like the Bracco Italiano. In addition, the Spinone can have a totally white coat, which in the Bracco Italiano disappeared about 100 years ago. The last all-white Bracco Italiano were those bred by Aschieri at the beginning of 1900. Another characteristic of both the Spinone and the Bracco Italiano is they are both trotters. Actually, the only trotting breeds among pointing dogs, which does not exclude occasional strikes of gallop, especially in certain types of ground, just as the Bracco Italiano does. Would that mean that the Spinone is simply a rough-coated Bracco Italiano? Obviously not. Starting just from the type of his trot. The characteristic of Bracco Italiano's trot is the very strong push coming from the back legs and consequently the very long steps and the evident suspension of the forelegs. It is a very beautiful gait, very fast, but which causes a considerable waste of energy. The trot of the Spinone, instead, is not so thrust, less spectacular, not as fast, but less fatiguing, and allows one of the most appreciated qualities of the Spinone, an exceptional endurance. For a hunting dog, endurance is a fundamental quality because our hunters want a dog which will carry on from morning to night in every type of ground. And endurance also means the capacity of pointing the game after many hours of hard work. Spinone's action must remain constant with the same rhythm from the beginning to the end of the day, without useless waste of energy for the initial impetuosity, or slowing down after many hours of work, thus allowing him to maintain the necessary sharpness when concluding a point. Good retrieve, quick and correctly done. One of the Spinone characteristics is his versatility, his ability of adapting himself to every climate and to every environment. The Spinone knows how to get by without problems in rice paddies, in water, and in the woods, which any Spinone must be able to deal with. It is true that all dogs hunt in the woods, but while other dogs adapt themselves to do it, the Spinone in the woods is at home. That's what the Spinone, working in his ideal ambience, woods and thick vegetation, enhance his attitude to a high-head courage, thus capturing smell hanging in the damp atmosphere of the woods. The point takes place with a typical progressive slow movement as the conclusion of an increasingly strong smell, which makes him sure of the presence of the game. Submitted by the presence of the dog, the game tries to save itself with immobility during the long moments before the flush. A good retrieve is the happy end. Here again, the search in thick and high vegetation. The athletic structure of the Spinone allows him to move easily, whereas a smaller dog could only jump. And this is again a reason for the great endurance of the Spinone and a help in his smelling function. Is the Spinone a very precocious breed? Not everybody agrees on this, because precocity is more an individual characteristic than a general quality of the breed. In this case, a 5-month-old puppy shows very promising qualities.
Naturali molto promettenti.
Let's keep fingers crossed.
Si sono rose fioriranno.
The Spinone is a strong dog with a sturdy structure that a rough hunting dog must have. The height of the Spinone must be equal to the length of his trunk. As a matter of fact, occasionally the length can be a little more than the height. If so, it is important that the top line be straight. As for all breeds, also for the Spinone, the head is the most typical part of the body. For the Spinone, the axes must be diverging, whereas for the English setter are parallel and converging for the English pointer.
Another
characteristic of the Spinone's head is that his skull should not be an arch, but like a roof.
A tetto, così.
The Spinone's coat is rough to protect him in the woods, in thick vegetation and in water, and has a characteristic which is different from all other rough-coated breeds. It has no undercoat, and its skin must be thick, not to feel the sting of the thorns. But the most typical characteristic is its loving look, the look of a rough but extremely sweet dog.
Il cane è profondamente rustico e profondamente buono.
We are in the San Bernardino's hunting preserve near Novara, with plenty of excellent game, pheasants, hare, snipes, and even some woodcocks. Here there are great hunting traditions. Here famous men and women have been hunting.
Come Yolanda Calvi di Bergolo.
But now let's talk about the Spinone Club, which puts together Spinone breeders, Spinone lovers and supporters. Let's hear what the president of the Spinone Club, Marco Lozza, has to say. We have members from everywhere in Italy, but from abroad as well, where there are a lot of Spinoni, especially in the UK and the USA. However, in these countries, the use of the Spinone as a hunting dog is not very frequent. And it is surprising how such a big dog is accepted as a pet. It sounds incredible, but it is so, mainly because of his wonderful character, his sweetness, and the attachment to his owner and to all the family members. The Spinone adapts himself to family life, loves his home, the children, and it is extremely nice. But he is and must remain a hunting dog.
Lo Spinone è e deve rimanere un cane da caccia.
The
fog, so common in the Po Valley, creates a fascinating atmosphere where we hunt. But beyond the romantic aspect, the fog creates connecting problems. It is necessary that the dog maintains a visual connection with his hunter, because frequent calls would alert the game. Once again, the hunt takes place in high vegetation, so high to justify occasional galloping phases, in order to go through an environment so difficult for the dog, but ideal for the protection of the game, which can run away on foot and easily hide itself. In these conditions, the Spinone works in the wind to identify the smell particles left by the game and only occasionally following the traces on the ground. Finally, the search ends up with a beautiful point. These are very exciting moments for both the hunter and the dog. The retrieve ends up a very rewarding action for both.
Stop. Porta, brava, brava, vieni, vieni, vieni. Tu, vieni.
Let's now hear what has to say a professional trainer, Vinicio Tognolo, who has been working with Spinone for many years.
Vieni, vieni, su. Vai, Ali. È un cane che ha una grande passione per la caccia.
It is a breed with great hunting instinct, with a very good pointing attitude and natural retriever. It is a very sweet and loving dog, and one must be cautious in training because it doesn't accept hard methods. However, certain bloodlines have a natural disposition for training. Personally, I've had great satisfaction in field trials with this breed.
Anche nelle prove di lavoro.
Tra i terreni
Among various hunting grounds, rice paddy is one of the most difficult. This is where the magic snipe lives, and snipe hunting is the toughest test for dogs and for hunters. But beyond the actual difficulties due to the mud in which dogs and hunters sink, beyond the cutting straws which after a day of hunting would knock out a dog which doesn't have the natural defense of the Spinone, beyond all this, the rice paddy requires the use of dogs which has a natural predisposition for damp environments. This is an individual quality which is very frequent among Spinoni, so much more so if cultivated when they are young. The Spinone trot, with occasional strikes of gallop, is the ideal gait to ensure an efficient search and the necessary endurance in such a difficult ground. And when such a dog works in front of you, you won't feel tired either.
Sente più la fatica.
Thick woods are the preferred ambience for cunning pheasants, but towards the end of November can offer the happy surprise of a woodcock. And in the woods, the ideal combination is 2 hunters and 1 dog, because you need 2 guns to serve properly a good dog. This wood is a usual stopping place of woodcocks, and the very active search is justified by their hope of finding the woodcock.
Sarà la volta buona?
Will this be a lucky day? The 2 hunters and the dog believe so. Now it looks like a little smell is hanging in the air, and the Spinone checks very carefully where it comes from. The search is very attentive without omitting the most promising bushes, which the dog recognizes thanks to the long experience of both the hunters and the dog. Finally, a beautiful point. Watch out, the woodcock! It's down! Luckily, one of the two hunters was able to reach the woodcock with the left barrel, thus remedying the target missed by his friend. The dog retrieves the woodcock, which is the happy prize for the three of them.
Guarda qua. Ho visto un attimo, credevo di sbagliarla. No, deve essere giù. Bella. Bravo. Grazie.
La caccia alle anitre può
Duck
avvenire
hunting can take place along a channel or in a little lake hidden in the woods.
in ogni caso.
In any case, the dog's activity is only after the shot, to retrieve the dogs.
Palmipedi eventualmente abbattuti. È quindi
It is therefore very important that the dog is very obedient not to disturb the approaching to the ducks, and that a dog is a good swimmer to recover game shot in high water, the retrieving of which requires a long and very fatiguing swim. Generally, the Spinone is an excellent swimmer. Nonetheless, a precocious training in deep water certainly helps. And if you do so, no other breed will be better than a Spinone. This is a practical demonstration of how efficient the Spinone is in this type of hunting.
Una
A
fucilata.
left barrel shot has put down a duck when it was already quite far away, and to recover it, the Spinone had to swim all through the lake.
Brava, Chiona, brava, brava, vieni qui, brava, brava, vieni, brava, vieni, brava, 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 lascia, brava. Brava.
We have shown you Spinone hunting every type of game, in every type of environment.
Spinone a tu per tu con la natura.
The Spinone face to nature, tireless companion with which you will share your love for hunting, your faithful friend, generous and always near you in your happiest days.
Uno Spinone.
That's why, if you choose a Spinone, it will be forever.